infrared utility with camera and integral field unit for extragalactic research. The first camera, called Lucifer 1, was fitted to the telescope in 2010. According to some reports, Lucifer 2 is set to be installed as early as this year. But why did the scientists choose the widely named moniker for Satan when naming the instruments? What is the Vatican's widely rumored involvement with Lucifer? Well, that's pretty obvious. WorldNet Daily contacted German astronomers at the Center for Astronomy of Heidelberg University, who gave Lucifer its diabolical name. Professor and astronomer Andreas Quarrenbach, who also identified himself as Catholic, told WorldNet Daily there's a common misconception about the term Lucifer. The origin of the name is Latin, meaning better of the light, Quarrenbach said. Whereas today most people may associate the name with a mythical fallen angel, who is also frequently identified with the devil, this is by no means the only and also not the original use of the name. In fact, the designation Lucifer was used in antiquity to designate the morning star, the planet Venus, when it is visible in the morning sky. This is the first use of the name, and so its occurrence in astronomy precedes any religious connotations. Heil Hitler! Quarrenbach also told WorldNet Daily the only biblical connotation of Lucifer is the astronomical reference to the morning star, which in turn is used to symbolize the Babylonian rulers. Now, here's where the article gets really interesting. The Bible makes its only mention of Lucifer in Isaiah 14:12. I'm reading from the article. Now they're going to quote, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?" From Isaiah 14:12. The book of Isaiah was written by the 8th century BC prophet Isaiah, who used the Hebrew term Halel in the Bible to refer to the angel who became Satan. It wasn't until around 400 AD, more than 1,000 years later, that Jerome translated Halel in Lucifer in the Latin Vulgate. Now we're going to find an expert in this field. The expert from WorldNet Daily, who they hired, is a guy by the name of Mark Blitz. His El Shaddai Ministries. You can Google that. I've got the website pulled up. Mark Blitz is founder of El Shaddai Ministries. They be sure to give his web address. A Hebrew roots resource and teaching ministry. He told WorldNet Daily that Quarrenbach's argument is based on, quote, false assumptions. To begin, said Blitz, there are astronomical references in the Bible from 4,000 years ago, Blitz explained. Also, when you go, here we go now, we've heard this one before. When you go from Hebrew to Latin to English, you do lose much in translation, because everybody knows that nobody does any good translating the Bible except the people who want you to believe what they're saying. They're the only ones who can do this. And God had nothing to do with it whatsoever. God does not translate. God does not give, according to them, the translation of an unknown language. That's what they're saying. Blitz confirmed that the literal translation of Halel is morning star, not Lucifer, or even Venus, as Quarrenbach suggested. Blitz noted that the Hebrew word for Venus is in fact Nogah. And so Mark Blitz, the Hebrew expert, because he's got the roots to prove it. And then he goes into this nonsense here. This is the WorldNet Daily article. There are 4 layers of meaning. The Peshat, which is the plain meaning of the text. The Remez, which is a hint at another meaning. A Drash, which can be allegorical. And Sod, which means a hidden meaning. And in the plain meaning of this text, it is referring to Satan. Now, here's my question, okay? This is from their article. Here's my question. Where in the Bible do we get the concept that there are 4 layers of meaning in every verse? Where do we get that? Where does that come from? I mean, he quoted, he used like Hebrew terms like Peshat and Remez and Drash and Sod. I've never heard of this. I've never heard these before. I don't know what they mean. I've never read this in my Bible. And I believe, and I've tried to teach, that the Bible will teach you the Bible. And Paul said, you need not that any man teach you. You let the Bible teach you what the Bible says. But these guys like to say, oh no, the Hebrews, they had the 4 levels of meaning. They had the sod, and they had the what is these others? The remez. Oh, what is the remez? You don't know what the remez is because you don't have the Hebrew roots like I do. And so they try to tell this stuff. And then he says, let's see, where is it? He said, I can't find it in here, but he's talking about, even in this article, what I had mentioned last Thursday about what Jim Staley said, that the Hebrews letters themselves have a meaning to them. And the word halel has some secret meaning that you would never know about. I don't buy that stuff. And by the way, his name is Lucifer. How do I know that? Well, I'm going to use, as I've been accused of, my circular reasoning. I've been made fun of that. Number 1, it's what the Bible says. His name is Lucifer. Number 2, what does Lucifer mean? Light bearer. Number 3, what did Paul say about Satan? How was he going to appear? As an angel of light. That means a messenger of light, a bearer of light. Hence, Lucifer. That's who he is, and that's what his name. And I just think it's interesting. I think it's very interesting for any group. I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's the contemporary modern liberal church. I don't care if it's the occult-oriented church. I don't care if it's the Hebrew roots people. They all, for some reason, want to take the name of Lucifer out of the Bible. Why do they do that? And then they accuse us of taking God's name out of the Bible when they are taking Lucifer's name out of the Bible. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, what else is going on in the world? Did you see this? This is the Newsweek cover. Barack Obama, the second coming. Now, I want you to think about this for a minute as you look at that image. By the way, it was designed to look like this. Okay, does everybody see that? There's Hussein, there's Honest Abe, there's Hussein, there's Honest Abe. That's what it was designed to look like. And a lady sent me, and I appreciate this, I can't remember who it was, sent me this. It's a collage of all these graphics where they're linking Obama with Abraham Lincoln. And people are trying to make sense out of all this. If you remember, when Obama takes his oath of office here, he's using Abraham Lincoln's Bible to swear on. What is the symbolism of that? What is up with that? The constant reference, even in his first inauguration, even in his first presidency, his first term, there was a constant reference to Barack Obama and Abraham Lincoln. Now, something that I want you to consider as sort of a pretext to what I'm going to share with you today. When they do the inauguration, they're standing there at the on Capitol Hill. You ought to Google that. You ought to Google Capitol Hill. You ought to go to Wikipedia and find out what Capitol Hill really is. It was a hill in Rome where all the gods were. And if you look at the Capitol building, it's got the 19.5-foot goddess standing on the top of it. It's got the apotheosis of Washington, and the Capitol dome. The statuary is obvious everywhere in Washington, D.C. You have the 555-foot Baal's shaft sticking up out of the ground or sticking into the ground, however you want to see it, there that they're facing. And then across the National Mall, what they call the National Mall, that big long strip of grass. I would love to mow that. I love to mow grass, and I would love to mow the National Mall. But anyway, between the Capitol and going straight west along this little ley line is the Lincoln Memorial. Now, if you go to the Wikipedia article on the Lincoln Memorial, you'll see. Go to the Lincoln Memorial website, the official website. You will see that it was designed specifically to represent the temple of Zeus with a god in it. And I taught this Sunday morning, both in Sunday school and during church, that a statue, an idol, is a devil. Paul made that clear in 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Those that sacrifice to idols sacrifice to devils. And so anywhere there is a statuary of some kind, you're looking at a devil. There is the power of the occult represented there. We have a book that we have printed here and published here called Capital Secrets. I did a video called Capital Secrets, but a book that was a result of that deals specifically with the Lincoln Memorial and its representation of a temple of the gods, or the temple of the Antichrist. Because you have, and I went to the Lincoln Memorial and I did my counting thing, and I'm going, well, I don't get this. But then as I did the research and read, you find out that the Lincoln Memorial has 36 columns on the exterior, but it has 10 on the interior. That's 46. So you're literally looking at a temple, a representation of the human body, and this human body has a god in it. And this god, this devil, is given the representation of Abraham Lincoln. Now, here again, you see this imagery here. Here's Barack. Here's the Lincoln penny. And there's just constant association with Abraham Lincoln. Now, some would want to say, well, he's going to set us all free so we can get free stuff from the government because we're in bondage right now because we got to work for our own stuff. I can't wait till Obama sets us free and we don't have to pay for nothing no more. That's what some people are saying. He's going to set us all free. I don't believe that he's going to do that. But anyway, and it's something that I don't even like to say, because God makes sure that I end up being the worst prognosticator in the world. And what I mean by that is I have a very, very poor track record of looking at something and saying, I think this is going to happen. I mean, I stink at it. That's why I don't do it very often. When I look inside my Bible, I can see a lot of things very clearly, and I can say, this is thus saith the Lord, this is going to happen. But I'm asking a question. I'm asking a legitimate question. Because you and I, those of us listening and being part of this program today, we're all conspiracy students. We know that there is a great big gigantic conspiracy out there to rule the world. And that there is an